welcome back to Lime Rock Park for round 6 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV. In the commentary box, me, Chris Cohen, and Rob Burton is lurking around somewhere, but he might have his face full of pizza right about now.
Yeah, I'm back here enjoying this last great race of the day at Lime Rock Park.
I've just noticed our preview says that it's actually a 15 lap race, and that's not right, is it? It's 16 laps around here, so apologies, the information on your screen is not quite correct. But how is it, your rather interesting cheese and tomato pizza?
It's not bad, luckily I managed to keep an eye on it, it's not too burnt either.
Well, you know, at least you put the effort into cooking one yourself rather than ordering one and getting a chap on a motorbike to come and bring it along to you.
Yeah, it could have been better for a takeaway, but I didn't want to do that tonight.
So, reverse grid, Rob, for the last race at Lime Rock Park, and that is always exciting. But Richard Wilde, then, having won 2 races this evening out of a possible 3, is starting 10th on the grid. What are his chances of taking this one as well?
Well, yeah, that's what I said about the first race. You know, is it possible for a driver to get 3 race wins in a meeting? I think it's possible, and yeah, I mean, I fancy the chances to get there. But he's going to have some competition in front now.
Well, he is for the likes of. Although you've got to say, Rob, I was going to say Andreas Katz, but we have seen him vulnerable at this track, and we're not used to seeing Andreas Katz being particularly vulnerable at any circuit. But he's not looking as strong as he possibly could be out there. So,
yeah, well, a good thing last race, Andreas Katz did finish in 9th place in that last race, I believe it was, and so that's going to put him in quite a good position for this last race.
And we're having some nice comments from the guys watching live on BSR TV as well. Where some madman has asked. That's his name, by the way. It's not just some madman. It's some guy called Some Madman has asked if we can do a live on board from the start of one of these races. And yeah, that is something we did actually like doing that. We did that last week with Matt Dalton. Matt's not here this week, but we couldn't find any other drivers who were actually willing to talk us through a start and race at the same time. So it's a no for Lime Rock, but if you can convince any of these drivers out there that it's a good idea to do it, we're more than certainly more than willing to broadcast it. What's wrong with my brain this evening, but the words, of which I normally say quite a few, are not coming out in quite the right order. But a minute and a half now, Rob, till the start of the final race, or at least until we head down to the grid. And apologies to the viewers again for the cameras at the start of the first 2 rounds this evening. We didn't actually have fixed cameras set up on the grid or the first corner, which we normally do in advance, and something went wrong. So we didn't have them. We have now, as you can see, we've got a grid camera ready. So it makes all the difference being able to see that. Not so relevant, of course, if you're looking at somebody driving from the onboard view, but we'll definitely come back to that if it's at all a possibility in the future. And this being, there's no prizes on offer for this season or anything like that. It is purely just for fun, the British Touring Car Championship. So you get people dipping in and out. Some people can make some weeks, some people can't make other weeks, etc. And it's a lot more important to take part than it is to grab a maximum amount of points from the championship, wouldn't you say? I think we've lost Rob again, have we?
Just wait for the last couple of seconds.
Oh right, sorry, I thought you'd disappeared again.
To finish, and then we'll be back just for race 3.
Another 16 laps round Lime Rock Park, and I've got to say, Rob, some of the best racing I've ever seen in this series was on show in the last race, where we had that train of 6 cars separated by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, hopefully we can have a cracking end to the day with the final race, and all those drivers like last race fighting till the end.
Well, I certainly hope so, and we're just about ready to go to the grid here, so nervous moments for Adam Terry, because he's won his fair share of races in this series. He has won quite a few races, but none recently, because like he says himself, he is quite willing to admit that the standards have improved quite a lot, haven't they, since sort of the early days of season 2 and even season 1. So I mean, it should be very interesting to see what Adam Terry can do from the line, because he's the first to admit that he's probably not got the pace that some of the guys do out there, and if he doesn't, Let's hope he just doesn't get swamped in the first corner. Let's hope we see everyone get away cleanly once again. And, well, I say once again, I mean, turn 1 was good last time, but the rest perhaps wasn't. And let's see just how many of these cars we can get going round a full lap without any contact. It might be a little bit difficult. And believe it or not, we've just lost the... that's not what we wanted at all. Oh dear, we've lost the feed, we've lost the cameras for the grid. Let's see if we can get it back up though. Good start from Terry. This is exactly what we were talking about now, all the cars compressing together as we go down into the first corner. Just look at the size of that field, that's absolutely huge. Terry takes it into the first corner with Katz just behind him, and we're all through clean so far. We got one dyno jet off onto the grass, but it's not a massive issue as they're coming through now. Round through turn 1, everyone through cleanly. Oh, except the dyno jet has come back on and caused a bit of a problem, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, it didn't look too bad, Rob.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad at all. Apart from that dyno jet, everyone got through cleanly.
Unfortunately, the timing needs resetting another time, but Adam Terry is your leader then. Andreas Katz is right behind him though, look at that. He's right on the back of Adam Terry, not going to let go, I don't think, until he gets past, which, you know, knowing Katz might well happen, but we've seen him a little bit more vulnerable on this track than anywhere else. Little wobble from Terry coming onto the start-finish straight, goes defensive straight away. Katz is going to have to go around the long way around the outside as they go around to the turn 1. Who's going to be later on the brakes into that turn? Terry clips the curb but takes the inside line, and Katz is going to have to find another way round. Stevens, meanwhile, who we saw come home 3rd, is in 8th. Richard Wilde, though, has dropped a position, so Wilde is down to 11th, and not the sort of storming through the field that we perhaps thought might have happened here, Rob.
Yeah, some of the drivers didn't quite make up the position you think they might have at the start, but he was still where they left off, actually.
It looks like Field is the man who's got past him. Field finished 11th in the last race and didn't benefit from the reverse grid at all. But Field has been qualified poorly and is not a slow driver, so he'll be... Oh, there's quite a few cars off onto the grass there. We could see some change of position here as Wilde was blinking for a moment there. I'm glad that didn't carry on. And Field is under threat now. From Wilde, goes down the inside, not going to be able to get around, and there's 6 cars all going through, and in the centre of your screen now, and the eBay car there is Ellis Stevens, who looks like he's picked up some damage from somewhere. That's unlike Stevens, but he might be slowing up that field now. Dan Hunt's just up in front of the white and blue Speedworks. So where did that... I didn't see Stevens hit anyone, did you? I think we might have a connection problem with Rob once again, so apologies for that, but let us know when you're back, Rob. And Field, meanwhile, is definitely being held up here. He's up to 9th position. It's 10th on your screen, but it'll refresh as they go over the line there. And look at these cars so close together as well. And meanwhile, up front, Terry still in the lead. Katz is going down the inside into turn 1, but he's not going to be able to make that work as Terry takes the defensive line again. Meanwhile, Craig Burleson is 3rd position in that Jack Golf car. He's going to be wanting to get around the both of them if he can, and if either of them make a mistake, that's certainly what he's going to be doing. Dan Hunt then picking up the 6th position. Janowski is just up in front of him, but look at that train of cars that we've got here, and there's a Yuasa car right in the middle of those as well. Who is that in there? Martin Johnson doing well for Jack Goff as well. He's under pressure now from Field. Wilde has been over... Well, he's lost out to David Burnett. David Burnett is 10th position. So, again, Field tends to struggle in this part of the lap, but tends to come back strong when they start-finish straight. Not sure if you're back yet, Rob?
Yeah, I'm back, sorry.
Excellent. Good stuff. And... let's just see what Field can do. There's a couple of cars... Oh, there's one car's gone very wide. Who's that? It's Nick McCarron. He's kept it under control, but what's happening to Field is he's... Well, Wilde's down the inside. Wilde just gone down the inside of David Burnett into turn 1. He takes the position back. And Zoltan Osvath is lurking in the background as well. Here for all 3 races this time. It's good to see. So Burnett is pushed down to 11th. Wilde is now in 10th. And it doesn't look like the damage on the front of Stevens' car is causing him any issues there, Rob.
No, and yeah, Simon, Richard was making up some places, got Simon in front of him, and they're trying to push on and get past his next row of cars.
Well, it's absolutely nose-to-tail action out there, which is absolutely brilliant to see, but Wilde is now, having overtaken David Burnett is under pressure from him. But he himself is putting pressure on Simon Field up in front, and it's going to be tough to say who's going to come out the best in this at all. As we see those cars go around there, Terry is under threat from Andreas Katz up in the front of the field. Let's just have another quick look at that. Just Katz was up alongside him there, but couldn't make it work. Katz is all over the back of Adam Terry's car there, and the question is, how long can Adam Terry realistically hold on, Rob?
Yeah, probably not long. We've got to make his car wide enough to stop the other car getting past, but we've still got 10 laps to go, so it's quite a way to go yet.
Well, I don't think that, I mean, there's only one position that Katz has to make up, so I don't think he's going to be under any particular pressure to do it that quickly. I mean, he's got all the time he wants in the world, really, but Craig Burleson, you know, he's not going to give up either, is he? He's just kind of minding his own business at the back there. Terry's got defensive again.
Adam Terry is defending the first corner now.
Katz takes that outside line though, doesn't he, and then cuts back, so he's going to try and get alongside Terry for turn 2, but can't make it work there, and Terry obviously giving up time around those corners in that defensive kind of line, and it's going to hurt him eventually.
And while this is going on, Craig behind in third doing a great job. He's keeping up and catching them up as well.
He is, yeah, and Wild, meanwhile, has got past Simon Field. So Wild is up to 9th position. Oh, there's a crash in the background. Who is that just gone off there? It's Martin Johnson. Oh, it's a disaster, and he's caught one of the Speedworks cars as well by the looks of things. He's rolling over and over. Martin Johnson is out of the race. What has happened to Martin Johnson? Let's have another look at that. I'm going straight to the replay of that. It's Ella Stevens up in front of him. Richard Wild is just behind him. And he's coming around turn 2 now on the replay, Rob. Turn 3, he takes way too much curb on turn 3, and then he is...
Just hits the barriers afterwards.
He's off onto the barriers, and then he is what you call a passenger at that stage. So that's a huge impact into the tyres. He's come back on the track, but he is airborne at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, in iRacing, the track with the grass is very, very slippery, and it's very hard to slow the car down to avoid any of the obstacles in the way.
And it's actually Osvath. He's hit... Osvath has got nowhere to go. He's hit the front of Johnson's car and sent it flipping over again and again. And then... I think that's Robert Fagg, you know. I think, unluckily enough for Robert Fagg, I think that's Robert Fagg just in the background, who's basically Martin Johnson's car has landed on Robert Fagg, and then we've got one of the UASs and the Team Club 44 just getting out of the way there, but wow, yeah, Martin Johnson needs a lot of repairs on that car after that, and well, hopefully we'll be seeing him back out on the track, but just one little incident like that as well has cost Robert Fagg big, because he is now down in 24th place. He's probably needed some repairs after that as well, but Terry is under pressure from Katz. Katz is going to be getting more and more frustrated by this, isn't he? Because he knows he's a faster driver but can't find a way around.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks, very tight, twisty, and you got to take your time to find your way past these cars.
Yeah, and a sideways moment, and that's given Katz the inside line, and Burleson's going for it as well. Katz has got through, Burleson hasn't. And that's it, isn't it? Katz is going to run away with us now.
Yeah, probably. And looking at it, yeah, just one mistake could cost him the win there.
Well, that's a big shame for Adam Terry. Let's have another look at that on the onboard if we can. They're coming round what is a very difficult part of the circuit to get right, isn't it? He's gone a little bit wide there, and you can just see him a little wobble. It has to let up on the throttle, and all of a sudden, yeah. All of a sudden Katz is through. He did well, I've got to say, he did well, Terry, to keep Burleson behind him, but Katz will probably be pulling up a little bit of a gap now. Wild, meanwhile, is up to 6th place, Rob.
Yep, Wild up to 6th place, ahead of Simon Field now.
So Field has followed him. Wild is tucked up behind Hristo Ublev now, and looks like he might well take this place as well after 10 laps here at Lime Rock. Yeah, a much cleaner line there from Wild, uses much more of the curb, but perfectly valid as long as you keep 2 wheels on the circuit, which is what he's done there. And he's just coming round to start lap 11. Will he make a challenge down the start-finish straight? Here's the question. He goes down the inside. He's going to do it. He's going to go for it at least anyway. Late on the brakes. Takes the position. Takes 5th place for Richard Wild. Fantastic move.
Yeah, that's a textbook move there.
Yeah, it really was, and no fight from Ublev. It's one of those corners as well. You want to hit the first apex going at some speed, so you kind of turn. It's not like you brake heavily then turn in. You're actually aiming at the apex of the corner, the first apex of the corner, as you brake as well. So Ublev's got to be aware that he's behind him now and actually let him through. To his credit, Wild made the move nice and early. He knew exactly what he was doing there, and he made it work for him. And now he's on the tail of Julian Janowski, who is going to be sweating a bit under his collar because he knows Wild's fast. But well, 5 laps to go. It's probably too late to win the race now for Wild, isn't it? But he's going. Look how far back Wild is there, braking heavily. He's not going to get round, is he? Just down the inside. Janowski's giving him the room. Janowski's going to try and hold on for that inside line into the next corner.
Got a good run out the corner.
He does, but this is giving Simon Field the opportunity to catch up with this group as well. So yellow car just behind those guys, and Wild's going to have to hang on probably for another lap now, Rob. But credit to Janowski as well, because he gave Wild room. Wild wasn't giving up. He obviously wants to get through, and it didn't matter. They didn't need to come together, and Janowski's still under a lot of pressure here from Richard Wild. Meanwhile, Zoltan Osvath, who is down in 11th place at the moment. That's David Burnett and Dan Hunt up in front. They didn't. I thought you can see the damage on the front of his car, and you got to say he got away with it, Rob, because that Martin Johnson's car actually came down out of the air and landed on the front of Osvath's car. So he's done well to not get too damaged there, right?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like he's got a bit of damage, but not too much that it's going to affect him too badly.
Let's go on board with Richard Wild as we're rounding out round 6 from Lime Rock Park here. Completely different line there, taking a very attacking line here, and he's going to try and go around, but this is there's a small kink on this straight which is going to prevent him from going around. That's Janowski up in front for Addison Lee. Again, Wild making heavy use of the curbs here, which is legitimate, but dangerous if you unstabilise the car here. And look at the line he takes from there.
Especially when you saw him take that line at turn 1 and going over those curves can unsettle the car quite badly and trying to control it as well.
Interestingly, stays off the curb on the final corner and gets a better exit, so he's down the inside now. Janowski under real pressure from Richard Wild, and it's hard to see how he's going to come back from this, as Wild is braking now heavily into the first corner and takes a position, so Janowski is now down in 5th place, and thanks Rob, 5th, and Wild is up to 4th.
Yeah, he didn't really fight there for that position. I think he just let him through because he knows he was going to be a bit faster.
One man that we haven't talked about for a while is Ellis Stevens, who was actually withdrawn from the race, Rob. We didn't see that happen, though.
No, we didn't. We know he used to have a few connection issues. We'll have to find out a bit later on what happened now.
Yeah, and it would be a shame if he's disconnected, because he had a disconnection last week as well, but he had a 5th place and a 3rd place so far. And was looking good, really, wasn't he? He was up into about 6 last time we saw him.
He was, yeah.
Simon Field will now be looking to take that place off Hristo Ublev. But can I just say, I mean, this chap, Hristo Ublev, driving just in front there. As Field goes down the inside now into turn 1 with 2 laps to go. Looks like he's going to take the place fairly comfortably.
Oh no, I just seen Craig Bursley. I think he just blew his engine. In 3rd place, sir.
Craig Burleson has... Well, he's got a problem. Let's go back and see what happens. We just seen Simon Field take that place, but Burleson was running in 3rd. Now he's chasing down Adam Terry here, and he's getting quite close. And like we said, Katz has made a little bit of a break for it. Yep, and you can see his engine's gone. So, well, that's rare, isn't it? We very rarely see that these days. But yeah, Burleson's engine has exploded in his face, and we'll just see if we can get another quick replay of that.
I bet he'd be really gutted with that with only 2 laps to go there. He was in a great position, and they're only three seconds apart from the leader.
Well, it's all over, but that's pushed Richard Wild up now into 3rd position, Rob. And just coming back for a moment to Hristo Ublev, Field has now got him, but this is the first meet that he's been in, so it's the first time he's raced in the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. He's not only quick, but he's a very good racer, and he's done extremely well to keep out of everyone's way. Even though the faster guys are overtaking him, he's had some really consistent results, and he's not slow.
Yeah, definitely not slow, very consistent, and keeping out of other people's incidents.
Simon Field then, on the last lap. Can he get Julian Janowski? We're just going around now to look at Andreas Katz on the final corner. Takes the win. It's been a while since Katz has been in a winning position in a British touring car race. It'll be a relief to him to be back into it. And Terry...
Simon Field's getting a good run across the line. As you're going side by side.
Who's going to take it? Oh, I think it's just... Isn't it? Just...
Yeah.
Janowski.
Yeah.
That was very close though. We need to get some confirmation on that. So, Wild third, Janowski fourth, Simon Field fifth, and I wonder if we can get a quick little replay of that over the line and see if we can get a... Maybe we can get a better view of that just coming over the line there. So we're going to slow it right down for you now. Yeah, and yeah, on the replay, yeah, it's actually quite clear that it's Janowski, it's over the line first, but that must have been by some really tight margin though, right?
Yeah, that was very, very close.
Andreas Katz then is back at the top for the first time in a while. Scores a good points haul, did well in the first meet as well, so won't be too disappointed with his results here. The two big names that aren't on your screen right now, Kobe Lopez and Stelian Chepelevsky, both struggled in the first two races. Lopez came through the field to finish 12th in that race, so scores some points at least, but Chepelevsky again is out, didn't finish the race. Unfortunately Robert Fagg didn't do very well. He got collected by a flipping car of I mean flipping in the rotating sense rather than the swearing sense, the flipping car of Martin Johnson, which is rather unfortunate. Janowski 4th, Field 5th, Oblev 6th, Hunt 7th. Another impressive finish for Dan Hunt. Dave Burnett 8th, Zoltan Osbath, who we thought might have been damaged, came home 9th, and well done to Craig Ray as well, who came home in 10th position. Wonder if we can might be able to get a quick word with Craig before he disappears off anywhere after the race. Craig, welcome to BSR TV. 10th place, you must be quite pleased with that last result.
Yeah, kind of as usual with my races, it seems I start the first race bad and have to climb back up from there. But, oh no, 10th place. I'm happy with a top 10 finish on my first appearance again at the BTCC.
And of course you didn't participate last week, so this is your first Season 3 meet, if you like. And what happened in the first race? Because we didn't get a chance to speak to you afterwards, but it wasn't a great result.
I'd managed to get through the mayhem of the first turn, but Andreas Katz joining the track just joined at huge speed and just clattered straight into me. I mean, the first thing I knew of it was him just absolutely hitting me from nowhere.
So it wasn't, I mean, you're quite happy with your own driving out there at Lime Rock. I know it's not everyone's favourite track, and you just feel it was a bit unfortunate the circumstances conspired against you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think on the first race it would have been on for a good finish, because without that, I'd managed to get through the mayhem, so worked up to I probably would have come out the second corner in 7th if it wasn't for him. And actually, when I rejoined the track, I was behind Dan Hunt in 3rd place. And I managed to keep up with him the entire race after that, so I had the pace, just not the luck, I guess.
And well, I mean, what's it like racing against Dan? Because he's been a bit inconsistent in the last season, but this season seems to be a different man, heavily improved, and scoring some really good points.
I guess he's keeping it clean. Maybe that's what it is.
And how much of an important factor do you think is that in this race? Because we've seen Ellis Stevens take the title last time, who definitely, he'd be the first to admit, isn't the fastest driver out there, but he's definitely one of the most consistent, isn't he?
Yeah, he gets, if he does get in a tangle, he doesn't lose his head, and he carries on picking up the places. And I think that's what it needs is, hopefully keep out the tangles, and if you get in one, just come back through the field.
And still with Speedworks for this season, Craig, but what's your expectations for this season?
Hoping to beat my 13th place from last time round. Hopefully it may be top 10, I reckon, in the championship.
Well, you're up against some stiff competition this time, because we've seen the likes of Hristo Oblev coming in this time round, and Zoltan Osvath scoring very heavily as well. So I'd say your work is cut out, but good luck to you anyway, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Chris.
That's Craig Ray for Speedworks there. I'm just wondering, perhaps we can get a quick a quick word, I should say, with Marcus, who did that qualifying lap for us, and I haven't heard much from him since. But are you around, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm still here, still going.
So Marcus Naris, KX Momentum, how did the races turn out? We saw you go around that qualifying lap very impressively, and then we didn't hear much from you, but pleased with that?
Yeah, not too bad. The reason you didn't hear too much from me was it's a very long way to shout from the back, so you can hear me.
No, I know what you're saying, but oftentimes what we find is the drivers who keep it clean and consistent don't end up with much screen time, because obviously we want to show the action, and the action tends to be, unfortunately, where people do come together. So maybe it's a good thing we didn't see a lot of you, but the field certainly looked tough out there.
Yeah, it was tough, and certainly, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of action. Unfortunately, as with most weeks, I was on the receiving end in a couple of races, but it happens. As the series gets more mature, people are being a little bit more robust, and I think I just need to adjust to that a little bit, to be honest with you. I think I'm still being a little bit too polite, but you live and learn. These
cars are a little bit more resistant to damage than, say, an open wheel race car. Do you think that lends itself to the style of driving where you can brush up against people and kind of make some room for yourself, or is that just completely out of the question, and all of the drivers here should respect each other's limits a bit more carefully?
Yeah, I guess it depends on where you make contact. I mean, when you're racing closed wheel cars like this, front to back is generally okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving somebody a little bit of a nerf or a reminder that you're behind them from time to time, but certainly if you're going in to somebody's back wheels, it's not going to end well. So yeah, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. You can certainly race with your elbows out, but you just need to be very, very aware that these things will go round very easily if you push in the wrong place.
And we've seen some huge fields out there. These are very short race tracks. On the one hand, you could say it makes it more exciting having 35 cars around Lighton Rock Park in one race, and on the other hand, you might say there's just too many cars, I can't get a lap in without getting interrupted. What's your view on that?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's nice that they're exciting races. That the trouble I have not being a faster driver is that the only way I can really make up places is by racing people, and it's very difficult to drive to any kind of strategy when it's quite as frenetic as this. So yeah, it's very good fun. It's really enjoyable around these short tracks, but unfortunately we do sacrifice a little bit of the race strategy that that can help out some of the guys like myself who are midfield runners.
Well, thanks very much for joining us and for providing us with the entertaining onboard qualifying lap earlier, and all the best to you in next week's race.
Yeah, and to you, thanks very much.
That's Marcus Naris there. So thanks to everyone who's given up their time to join us on BSR TV, especially because sometimes we bug people without we know they've had incidents, but you know what I mean, Rob. They come on and they're very good to talk to us, even if they're not in the best of moods, having just been swiped off the track or something like that. It's not easy, is it?
Yeah, it's not unusual. I mean, even in real racing, people are a little annoyed and given a bit of time to calm down and get back to reality.
Yeah, and I think all credit to everyone who takes part in this series. Really, everyone's keeping it very cool, keeping it very collected. Everyone generally gets on as well, so the focus really is on the fun here, and it is open to any driver. So if you're watching this evening, or you come across the YouTube video later on, perhaps you're watching a recap of this and you're thinking, I fancy a go at that myself, and a number of people already have. You need to go to the iRacing Leagues, search for BTCC, and apply to join the league. There's no lower skill limit. It doesn't matter if you're not the fastest around the track, as long as you're respectful and you're willing to have some fun with some of the top drivers as well in the queues, in the service, then it's all game for you, really. And 6 rounds now out of the way. We haven't added up the championship points, but it's going to be quite tight at the top with Chepalewski not having scored, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what the points pan out when we have a look at them afterwards. And when you lot find out next race, Chepalewski not scoring and a few of the other cars doing really well, it's going to really turn things around. And
who impressed you most out there today? Out of all the drivers we've seen a lot of drivers this evening, but is there one that stands out for you?
Well, apart from Andrew's cat having the incident, obviously in the first couple of races and that lot, but I think Ellis Stevens has been really impressive to get some good results there.
Unfortunately disconnected in the last race, of course, but it does happen from time to time. Nothing you can do about that. in virtual racing.
It just shows that a lot of people do have problems, either crashed out or disconnections, and everyone's having their moments at the moment this season.
Well, after 6 rounds, it's already going to be it's already an exciting season. I'm dying to see where it goes, really, because it's going to be difficult for Stevens to hold on to his crown. He is 2-time British Touring Car champion. No one else has taken the title yet, but if anyone else is going to take the title, I think he might have to give it up this season.
Yeah, definitely, and just to point out, we are back next week for the next rounds of the British Touring Car Championship from Summit Point Raceway. So that'll be a very interesting track.
Another fairly short one, and another one where we could be seeing quite a large grid. So I'm excited to see what happens there for rounds 7, 8 and 9. And well, we'll have to see. It's only a week away as well, so the drivers haven't got too much time to prepare. But that's all from us at BSR TV from Lime Rock Park. Hope you've enjoyed the action this evening, and do join us next week for Summit Point Raceway.